Hi, I'm Coach Anika, and welcome to another episode of Rewrite Your Story. This is part one of the two-part series to create more time for yourself. Now, if you missed the previous episode, I shared the issues behind the most common challenges that are faced by entrepreneurs that ends up with this big challenge of not having enough time to get everything done. See, you're dealing with multiplicity in the tasks as entrepreneurs. You want to get tasks done to get business, to run the business, as well as manage the day-to-day affairs. You're doing the work of 3 to 4 people. And because you can't be doing all of them together at the same time, the situation requires judicious self-organization. The issue number 2 is that there is focus and attention with expertise required for the diverse roles that these 3 to 4 people that you're working as, the hats that you have to wear. You can't multitask them if you want to avoid errors and duplication of your work efforts. So dedicating the needed time for each of these tasks requires efficient time management. Creating more time to do it all requires organizing yourself and time management. In this episode, we will take a deep dive into simple tools and structures that you can create and implement into your day-to-day scheduling so that they can help you judiciously organize yourself, creating more time. So we've got 2 practices under organizing yourself. Practice number 1, prioritize your tasks. As entrepreneurs, because all the responsibilities rest on us, and most entrepreneurs are solopreneurs, we think everything is equally important and a high priority today. It's not, at least not all on the same day. Set aside some time to organize yourself at the end of the week or over the weekend. You want to list out all the big tasks for the month. Now this you would do at the end of the month, yeah? Give them priorities. By weeks works for me. So I have 1 for a has to be this week to a 4 that can be at the end of the month, and everything in between that range to play with. And you convert the weekly priorities to the day-to-day tasks. And that way, you can sort out your weekly timeline. Week over week, you'll be able to achieve your monthly timeline. So prioritize your tasks, yeah? Then, practice number 2, systemize yourself. When you're running your own business, you're probably following a passion in your field and want to spend most of your working hours dedicated to it, working on activities that are not directly related to your passion, that are not the I love to do this, yay, type of job, but they're more like the I have to do this kind of task. These are activities like the administrative tasks, like managing your customer database or transactional. They could be about accounting or taxation. Now, these are task-based and transactional activities. They do require some expertise, but they're not knowledge-based and creative skills, which is probably the space that you want to spend most of your time in. If they are task-based, there is some repetition and frequency to them, yeah? These can be systemized for yourself and for others. Let's take a minute to look at how we can do this for ourselves as well as for others. Physical systems for yourself. Look at the tasks that you have to do yourself regularly. Really, like you have to do them. These tasks need to be repetitive, and you want to assess how can you self-organize to make this job easier and quicker to do. Now you have to do it yourself, so you want to now organize yourself to be able to be more efficient and productive with them. One of the examples that I have is I despise organizing my bills and my invoices and compiling them for my accountant at the end of every month to do my monthly taxes. When I first started, it used to take me 2 to 3 hours at the end of every month, and I don't know how many hours procrastinating and thinking about it. I wouldn't sit down with it, and as the days would go by, the accountants would keep sending me reminders to push me to get it done. The task just looked like it got bigger and bigger every month. So here's what I do now every month with a little bit of organization. And this has been able to bring my end of month accounting compilation time to only 30 minutes now. When I have any transactions, everything is online today, so everything is digital. When I have a transaction that goes through my corporate bank account, I get notifications. I immediately save an expense under the bills folder and an invoice under the invoices folder with the reference title of the transaction. Takes me 1 or 2 minutes to save and name the file, but what it helps me do is systemize the compiling that I have to do at the end of the month. It reduces the time and makes that entire task seem so much easier and simpler to do then. I don't procrastinate over it. My accountant does not have to send me reminders, which just gives me this feeling that I'm late. I don't get overwhelmed. In fact, knowing that the task is simpler to follow, it motivates me to get down, put on one of my 30-minute favorite tracks, and just sit through it and get it done, check it off my list. Has to be done, I have to do it, but with a little bit of organization, I get it done faster, quicker, and I don't dread about it. I've created at least 2 hours a month extra time for myself, which is almost 25 hours in the year. Now, this is just one type of task. Imagine the number of hours that can be created every month or every week, and looking at it at the annual big number, if you brought an organization to 3 or 4 types of repetitive tasks that you have to do. So ask yourself, what repetitive tasks can you organize yourself for so they get done on time, but without taking too much of your own time? What can you do to self-organize through a physical system to make it easier? Yeah, so these were the physical systems for yourself. Now let's take a look at how to delegate systems for others. Whether you're just starting or are running solo for some time, you will do yourself a lot of good if you outsource tasks that can be delegated and don't require your expertise. Hiring remote freelancers is easier than ever before, so you can find the right fit for whatever requirement of skills, expertise, or budget that you may have. Create simple systems around the administrative tasks, even bookkeeping, which can serve as your operations manual, and delegate virtual assistants to support you by freeing up the time for the critical tasks that you can't delegate to anyone else. It's easier to set and delegate systems early in your business when customer management, transactional activity, and overall business operations are on a much smaller scale. Something I learned from my master coach, Ajit Nawalka, is if you want to go fast, do it alone. If you want to go far, do it together along with others. It's only when your physical world has some room to breathe in terms of the extra time, and your mind space is not under duress and stress, that it can have some room to think. And we can dedicate time and mind to ideation, to creative thinking, to visionary thinking, the space that you probably want to spend more time in than be bogged down by tasks that take your time away, don't really generate revenue, and kill your motivation as well. Don't limit yourself to the tasks that are important but don't need all of you. And delegate those that don't require your expertise through support systems and people to leverage collective strength and enable consistent forward movement. Let's recap. To judiciously organize yourself, you want to prioritize your tasks. Get a clear picture of what needs to be done today, really, what needs to be done next week, and what needs to be done by the end of the month. And you want to systemize yourself through the support of systems and people to minimize the time that you personally spend on repetitive and routine tasks. In the next episode, we'll be covering part 2 of this series, where I'll be taking a deep dive into the 2 practices for efficient time management to support the self-organization to help you create more time for yourself. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you've got any questions, any other practices that you've adopted that have helped you create more time for yourself, I'd love to hear about them. Drop me a line in the comments below or reach out to me on the contact details in the description box below. I'll see you in the next episode of Rewrite Your Story. Until then, take care and stay awesome.